This week on Behind the Pulpit, Scott Rajoppi joins the podcast to help Pastor Bob and Pastor Dave recap Vision Sunday.
We just finished up a series called Rise Up and Build through the Old Testament post-exilic stories of both Ezra and Nehemiah.
I do like the themes of vision and calling, I think, are super helpful. And it was natural, we did the vision message yesterday that we do every year, but I think with Nehemiah, it was a more natural lead-in because you have this: what is the mission? What is God calling us to? What is it? What are the things that are breaking our hearts and moving us?
Along with that, the trio discusses an encouraging news story coming out of the Middle East.
There was this spiritual story about how there was residents in the Gaza area, Palestinians, who were having these dreams about Jesus.
And we wrap it all up with a theology sprint sent in by one of you.
What if we sprinted before the news? That'd be crazy.
No, we never sprint before the news.
No.
We end with the sprint.
You're going too far, Bob.
All right.
That's the
vision, man.
highlight of the program.
As always, wherever you may be watching or listening to this today, we hope you're having a wonderful day. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's edition of Behind the Pulpit.
All right. Hey, good morning, brothers and sisters, internet world, or whenever you're watching this. It's morning for us, Monday morning, November 27th, 2023, the Monday after Thanksgiving, affectionately known as Cyber Monday. So as you're taking a break from your Amazon cart and tuning in to Behind the Pulpit, we're glad that you've joined us. My name is Dave Henschel, lead pastor, spiritual formation and care at Millington Baptist Church, Basking Ridge, New Jersey. And I'm here with my esteemed colleagues. Can you guys introduce yourselves?
Oh, coming to me first, Bob Erbig, lead pastor for Preaching, Family Life, and Mission. I'll do some surfing and let you know what the best deals are in the midst of our recording today.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay,
Stay
tuned.
Multitasking.
Stay tuned.
And we are here with?
Yes. So Scott Rajoppi, Senior Director of Administration and Connection Ministries here at Millington Baptist Church. Great to be with you all.
Good to have you, Scott. So we are going to cover what's coming up in the life of our very busy Christmas Advent calendar. Lots of activities here at Millington Baptist Church. We're going to review our Vision Sunday and end of the year giving campaign. We're going to talk a little bit about a summary of the books of Ezra and Nehemiah. What a fantastic study this has been and all that we've learned over the past couple of months. And we'll do a little bit of dallying in the news and maybe a theology sprint at the end.
Dallying in the news. Before we do what's going on at the church, can we just recap what happened this weekend? With Thanksgiving,
there's been a lot of things.
We were talking about food and pounds and exercising and turkey and cranberry sauce and
how'd you guys do on your
boulders, cake boulders you were talking about?
Intake. So my nephew Dominic is a wonderful nephew, but he does make these cake ball desserts that we call them cake boulders because they're so big, so delicious, and they just sit on the counter from about 5 p.m. for the rest of the night. And so every time you walk by the kitchen, you reach out your hand and you grab another cake boulder, and it does a lot of damage. But they're delicious. Thank you, Dominic. But we got some working out to do this week for sure. How'd you guys do?
That's fine. We did okay. My sister brought some chocolate chip cookies, and we had turkey breast, cranberry sauce.
Just the breast, not the whole bird.
You know what? We decided that's the way to go. It's just a lot easier to cook. We didn't have a huge gathering, and so the breast was like 2 hours in the oven and popped out, and we were ready to go.
Pop, like you use a popper even with just the breast? Boop. Mine would not pop. It said 2.5 hours.
Were you cooking your turkey?
Yeah,
or? Okay.
Yeah. I put it in the exact spot of the breast that I was told, and said like 2.5 hours for that size. 3 hours goes by, 3 hours, 15 minutes goes by. All the guests are here. That thing's still not popped. So I took it out of the oven. I'm like, it's got to be done. So I'm like trying to cut into this thing, and then it pops.
Okay.
About 10 minutes after
you took it out of the
So
oven.
you're saying is you had a poppin' Thanksgiving over there.
It was popping. Yeah.
All right.
Nice.
How'd you make out, Mr.
Were you popping too, Scott?
Yeah, I mean, we did great. My problem isn't so much the sweets. It's just I love everything else. So, I eat too much. So it's really portion control for me than anything else. It's not the sweets. They're not.
So you're not digging into the pumpkin pie and the whipped cream
Not-
or anything?
not so
you can
much,
say no
but-
to pumpkin pie?
But then I think I can double up on everything else, and then that's what makes it
There you
makes
go.
it challenging.
Double
So,
What about, so that was Thanksgiving. What about Black Friday? You guys do any shopping on Black Friday? Which, by the way, apparently it's not just Black Friday anymore. Now it's just like Black November. You know,
Pretty much.
People are doing deals the entire month. We've given up on these days, culturally speaking. We don't have an election day now. We have election seasons and Black Novembers and who knows what else. It's crazy, Pastor Dave.
I try not to go shopping on Black Friday, although I had to go out because we were missing some AA batteries for our little window candles that we usually decorate for Christmas on Friday.
Yeah.
And I guess we had used all our AA's. I'm like, so I got to go to Walmart on Black Friday to get like 30 AA batteries. And I'm like, oh man, I do not want to be here. So I got in and out as fast as I could, but it was busy.
did you get the 30-pack? Because those things can be expensive, especially 30 of them. You got a lot of windows.
I
in your house,
know.
Pastor Dave.
I know. I needed 14 windows worth of candles, and you need 2 batteries per candle.
There you go.
Well, I'll tell you, it
I
might
got
have
the
been
30-pack.
busy, but I was hearing a report this morning that the in-store shopping has decreased from previous years because more people are shopping online, which
might
I
be
guess was the
true.
trend anyway. But I don't know.
Even online, they still use the terminology of door buster. Like, even though there's no doors to bust, but it's still a door buster.
But if you can like get your avatar in the metaverse, you can like virtually bust the door open as you get in there.
You need like some sort of PlayStation to bust the door.
A lot of deals and incentives over the weekend, but it never enticed me to go shopping even before the online shopping experience became commonplace. I don't know, something about the rush, the people, the crowds. I just kind of wanted to stay away. So we've made a point of getting our Christmas tree the day after
Well, look at you.
Thanksgiving.
Look at you.
So
I tried to do that.
We do. Oh yeah, Tim. Yeah, did it work?
No, because we were on our way, and my truck broke down on the side of Route 78.
Oh,
Tim.
yeah.
So
that's
the
a bad
family
day.
was stranded on the
silence.
side of Route 78 for about 3 hours waiting for a
3
tow truck.
hours. Boot.
Lord
Bro, I am
Jesus,
feeling your
would
pain.
would you help Tim's car?
Aside from
Amen.
the broken down vehicle, I actually had a good time just sitting out there watching thousands of cars go by.
Can we talk about how slow tow trucks have become all of a sudden in the new world? I used to be like, okay, 45 minutes, we'll get you there. Now it's like, we may be there within 10
It
hours.
seems like that's like
I hope you have enough gas to put the heat
So,
on in your car.
we've gone off topic now.
This happened real quick. This happened at like 11:40. We called AAA and we're like, all right, it's gonna usually like an hour, 90 minutes, but we're gonna give you a priority call, so we should be there by 12:30. So we're like, all right, cool. So yeah, the tow truck came at like 4.
Tim. At that
Then they give
point,
you the window
could've
like, we'll
walked-
be there somewhere between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m.
We're
So can
3
you wait by
miles
your
from my
car
exit.
until we get there?
We hope you're in walking distance to a Starbucks because it's going to be a while.
Right.
Yeah.
The 10
I'm sorry,
window.
Tim. I have been there, bro. Unfortunately, many
Okay.
times.
It
in
happens.
November.
It does.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Cyber Monday today, Giving Tuesday tomorrow. Maybe we should mention that.
It is Giving Tuesday. We hope that you'll consider your local church as you think about areas of generosity for your family. We have a lot of exciting things going on at Millington. This is good ground to sow some seeds in. God's going to do great things in 2024.
Remind you about that later in the podcast.
Yeah, good. So did you actually get your tree?
We did, yeah.
All right.
We
Okay.
found a beautiful farm up. Did
you chop it
in
down?
One of the towns. We did.
With
yeah.
an axe.
We made it. We made it an annual pilgrimage for our family to do.
Annual pilgrimage.
Yeah,
Okay.
kind of feel like the Griswolds going out
Medina
there.
to Mecca.
Oh, there it is. Let's cut it
Put
down.
on your snowshoes and
That's a
jump
lot
out.
of fun.
and-
It's kind of nostalgic for
right.
my family and my children.
Awesome. Well, speaking of annual traditions, we have a lot of exciting traditions that are happening at Millington Baptist Church. Let me tell you about a couple things that are coming up in the life of our church here in this Christmas Advent season. The first thing we want to highlight is January 12th. We're going to have a night of revival.
Sorry.
We're going to start there, Tim. And it says
Let me tell you what's
nothing to
happening
do-
during Advent.
There's no traditions around this. Nothing to do with Christmas around this. But I'm going to throw Dave a curveball and be like, how about you fast forward to
Dave?
January?
January 12th.
Yeah. So this is going to be an awesome night of revival. Please mark your calendars. We're going to look forward to spending some time in worship and looking at the Word together on a Friday night. January 12th.
I think Tim did it on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's going in de-escalating, de-chronological order, I guess. So what's next, Tim? What else is going on in the life of our church?
Before the new year.
Let's work backwards.
Yeah. What? Okay, awesome.
Oh, senior luncheon.
Scott, tell us about this. What's happening?
Sure, yeah. So our December senior luncheon is an exciting senior luncheon. They're all great experiences. We meet the third Friday of every month. So this month it falls on the 15th of December, and we'll have some friends of ours coming in to share their gifts, their musical talents with us. We'll be singing some.
Who's coming in?
Some seasonal.
Let's name
songs.
names.
So we have.
Who's the headliners?
I mentioned a headliner during the Vision thing yesterday. So you must have another headliner like
we do. We have Luke Cianello.
Cianello?
Yeah.
I was going to say Luke Cianello. All right.
Liz Gallagher, who
All right.
both serve on our worship team here at the church, and one of our friends,
10.
Doris Wheeler, as well, who comes and plays the organ, piano, electronic piano for us. And it's just it's a great time.
Playing the piano.
People really enjoy it. So please join us. If you're a regular, great. You know all about it. If
Scott
you're
plays air piano.
I do. If you're one of our community guests, come on out and enjoy some time.
What's the age limit there, man? When am I invited to senior lunch? Is there like a threshold?
I actually make the cut now.
Yeah.
You? Okay.
No, you
Yeah,
don't.
I do.
Well,
I
technically,
do.
you can get your
All are
AARP
invited,
card when
really.
you're 55, right?
Hold
That's
on, I
right.
need a
That's
minute.
That's right. I know.
You do?
I do.
Oh, good night.
I know.
So what do we say,
Great night.
55?
Are you-
55.
55? You
Okay.
can come,
I
huh?
look good, right? That's why
All
you're
right.
so
Wow.
surprised.
I'm very
So wait,
surprised.
news. So you're a senior now. Card carrying.
Is that why we
senior
call you the
Thanks for-
senior director of
Senior,
administration?
there you go. There, I was always wondering. There you go.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Yes,
man,
sir.
Scott.
That's a good
All
one,
right. Welcome
Pastor
to the senior club, my friend.
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
this senior lunch they're all great.
They
this
are.
This one's really great.
This one in particular is just phenomenal because everybody obviously enjoys gathering together.
They're
around
all
the
equal,
Christmas
but-
holiday. So, yeah, come on out.
As George Orwell says, we're all equal, but some of us are more equal than others. So the December senior lunch is really, really great.
And I expect
right.
you to be there, Pastor.
I will be there.
Someone to work George Orwell and Animal Farm into
Somehow it fits. All right. What else is
times.
coming up, Tim? Okay, men's breakfast. And this is going to be on December 9th at 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m.
That's
we
the
have
beans. There's
an
the beans,
awesome
man.
time with some breakfast items, and we have a couple awesome testimonies you're going to want to hear about, and just get together with the guys early Saturday morning. It's going to be a fun time. So, guys, mark your calendar. We hope to see you there. Fellowship Hall, Millington Baptist Church. That's the place to be. And the same day, we are having our Cookies for a Cause initiative, where what we do is, if you're a baker or if you're just an aspiring baker, we would like you to use your gifts and talents to bless others. And so we package up fresh home-baked cookies. Pastor Bob, I don't know how these will compare with your Thanksgiving chocolate chip cookies, but we're going to
I don't know.
get some cookies together, and we're going to give them to some local ministry organizations in order to distribute to those who are in need, to give some smiles and some love out this Christmas season. So Cookies for a Cause.
But you're assuming nobody's going to bake chocolate chip cookies for the, for the Cookies for a Cause, which I don't think is true.
I assume nothing here. You can bake whatever kind of cookie you want, man.
Chocolate chip cookies are really the only cookie there is.
Wow.
I did just say it. Yes.
So as George Orwell says, there are cookies and then there are real cookies. Some of us
Cookies, but some cookies are more equal than others.
All right. Any other announcements, Tim, that we need to highlight coming up in the month of December? Yes.
Officially worked backwards.
Pastor
man.
Bob, what is this?
This is the Luke series. By the way, maybe Tim should edit in the trailer that he did yesterday that premiered in the service. Yeah,
That'd be good.
the Gospel of Luke. So we're going to be kicking off what's going to ultimately be a 7-month series through the Gospel of Luke. We were putting this together and decided that shorter was just not going to do the gospel justice, and so 7 months we're going to be looking at it in different chunks. There's some natural breaks and chunks in Luke. So the first one, to save the world, is going to focus on Advent, and then we'll move on to the introduction of Jesus and his miracles when we get into January. So we're going to probably have a different different type of graphic and walk-up video and all that. But anyway, this is Advent, to save the world. Luke 19 talks about the Son of Man came to seek and save that which was lost, and so we're going to hopefully find some lost people in these 7 months.
I will put the trailer in. 3, 2, 1.
Have you ever lost something? Something that was precious to you? A loved one? A wedding ring? A career? Something irreplaceable? How far would you go to save that which you lost? Now, what if you were lost? How far would someone go to save you? 2,000 years ago, a baby was born in Bethlehem, a birth that was prophesied long ago by the prophets, a birth that was proclaimed by angels to shepherds watching over their flocks at night, the birth of a king that would go on to heal the sick, make the blind see, calm the storms, cast out demons, a king who would raise people from the dead, a king who would go on to lay down his life to save the lost. What child is this? He is Christ the King. He is Emmanuel. He is God with us, the Prince of Peace, the Messiah, the Lion of Judah, the Lamb of God, the way, the truth, and the life. He is hope. He is peace. He is joy. He is love. He is the Son of God. He is Jesus, the one who came to seek and to save the lost. He is Jesus, the one who came to save the world.
So it's going to be great. Our Luke series coming up. Don't miss this Sunday. And we're so excited about diving into the gospel story, the life of Jesus. Here we go. You know, all the Bible's great, but there's something about a gospel that is, it's just the centerpiece.
Dude, you should have
Jesus is it's Christocentric.
I don't know why you
right?
weren't wearing a red shirt today, Pastor Dave. You're spouting off that.
Yeah. Well, all of the Bible is equal, but some parts are more equal than others. So the gospel
Whoa.
is the whole point of the story. So the life of Jesus,
Yes.
we're looking forward to that series. So that is coming up in the life of our church. But we just finished up a series called Rise Up and Build through the Old Testament post-exilic stories of both Ezra and Nehemiah. Originally, they used to be one book. They were split up into two books in our canon, but we told the story through the lens of AI and through the lens of some characters that we created.
That's right.
Some
fake characters on the
reality.
screen.
We just imagined what Ezra would look like, what Nehemiah would look like, what Sanballat would look like, what King Artaxerxes would look like, what King Cyrus would look like. I don't know who that lady is, but some other lady that was alive back then with a candle. And so it was a great series.
There was like so many different lists of names. She was on the list.
She was on one of the. She was
somewhere.
in like Nehemiah 3 somewhere. She was one of the daughters building the wall.
That's right. The guy and his daughters. Right. There was a family effort. I remember that.
Yeah. So hey, wrapping up this series, Pastor Bob and I did a message together as a sort of a summary.
Are we skipping over the news? You gonna jump right to the recap?
We should not skip over the news. Who's hosting this thing?
Seriously.
What about the news?
We can do the news later if you want. You want
we-
to get into the vision message? We can do it. You're driving the ship. I was just pointing out.
All right, let's just move forward with the vision because I've already I've turned
said
down
it
that road
right.
already. So
It's like I'm trying to turn you around and pull you back, and you can't turn the car around.
yeah, I should have like a show outline in front of me. Sorry. So we'll get to the news in just a second. You'll have to keep watching. There's a really exciting news story.
We can end with the news.
Okay.
Whoa.
Well, I mean, like before
Production
the
manager.
sprint
Hold on a second here.
sprint after news. You could try it.
What if we sprinted before the news? That'd be crazy.
No, we never sprint before the news.
No.
We end with the
You're
sprint.
going too far, Bob.
All right.
That's the
talk vision, man.
highlight of the program. I mean, the theology sprint has to be the culmination because all the program parts are good. They're all equal, but some parts are more equal than others. The theology sprint happens to be the highlight. All right, so Ezra and Nehemiah. What's going on with this series, Pastor Bob? Did you enjoy delving into these historical books? This amazing epic tale of restoration that is preserved for us in the canon. What are your thoughts on finishing? Did you put your Ezra commentaries back on the shelf and your Nehemiah commentaries away for the current season? Are you done?
They're back on the shelf. Although a lot of times I use Logos, so I guess they're literally back in the digital.
You minimize
realm,
them.
I guess I minimized them.
You click
There
the
go.
X. See you guys later.
I did really enjoy. I've done some stuff in Nehemiah, but candidly, I mean, a lot of stuff the earlier chapters get a lot more attention. You know, chapter 1 it probably is one of the more
Well,
popular
what was the
ones.
candidly thing you were going to say that you stopped saying? Candidly, what?
Oh, I was. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say I hadn't really
Candidly, wait, I can't
delved
say that.
deeply into Ezra and Nehemiah
Oh.
as much previously as we did, as much as we did for the series.
Right.
So that was, I think, really beneficial. And looking at the redemptive narrative arc that God uses in the Scripture.
Me too. I've looked at Nehemiah before.
Yeah.
Candidly, I've never studied Ezra. I'm just going to put it out there. Candidly, never preached through this
All
book.
right. And we can see why people don't like to do that.
There's some challenging passages.
I will say my least favorite part was the end of Ezra, and Nehemiah 13 had
Yeah.
some challenging
So,
issues there.
If
but-
you're a pastor about to start that series, just start your study on Ezra 10 right now, because it's going to take a while for you to figure out what's going on there with the
yes.
divorces.
What is that?
Yeah.
Still not quite sure.
So overall thoughts about the sermon series over the last couple months?
Well, I mean, I do like the themes of vision and calling, I think, are super helpful. And it was natural, you know, we did the vision message yesterday that we do every year. But I think with Nehemiah, it was a more natural lead-in, because you have this: what is the mission? What is God calling us to? What is it? What are the things that are breaking our hearts and moving us? So I loved that. I love the idea of worship and the focus on God's word. Several places within the two books. I love the persevering through the opposition. You had that kind of throughout. Began with Zerubbabel in the first part of Ezra, and then you had places like Nehemiah 4. And then there is just something about completing a project, right? I mean, I know you've talked before about just getting kind of these dopamine hits when you cross off
What a rush.
your
Oh,
to-do
man.
list. But
when you
you're
get that
finished with
check
something,
mark
right?
out, that, you know.
Yeah, it's amazing. So, but I think overall, God's sovereignty, God working, God's love and favor for His people was a great reminder throughout the whole series.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. How about you? I didn't leave much left for you. So,
No, it was a good reminder to me about what are the components, what are the ingredients toward restoration. What does that look like? So there's some overall back to the basic things. You know, the foundation of the Scriptures, the importance of prayer, such an important theme there. Generous giving,
yeah,
community building, the idea of having
doing
a
things
shared
together, right?
Yeah, shared sense of vision and purpose, pursuing God for revival, trusting in His sovereignty and God using even what might appear to be evil leaders to accomplish His purposes. And it gives us a great hope no matter what age or dispensation we live in. Had to throw that in there. Scott, you were here for the last couple of months.
I was, yep.
Overall, what do you feel like God was teaching you through the Ezra Nehemiah series?
Yeah, so I appreciate what both of you said. It's got to be a thrill for you coming back and preaching through books that perhaps you may have not necessarily spent a lot of time in since maybe your days in seminary, right? So
That's
coming
true.
back,
It was like a roller coaster, Scott. You know,
Yeah.
kind of like, you know, sometimes you're up and then you just you hit like Ezra 10 and you go you take the dive
Thrill.
down.
but I
a
do.
thrill.
I bet it.
I found my thrill.
And challenging.
Blueberry
I
Hill.
do. Okay. all
Found
right.
my thrill in Ezra 10.
Okay, rein it in, pastors. Rein it in. Bring it in. So I do
Yeah,
appreciate what both of you said,
speechless,
but especially Pastor Bob, how you said it kind of, the book of Nehemiah kind of naturally, the last message kind of wove right into the fabric of our mission here at NBC. And so right firmly planted, growing together, made to multiply, and particularly that I think it was chapter 3 where there was this diverse array of workers, right, that were there to rebuild the wall. Correct me if I'm wrong,
Yep.
but I think it was chapter
Good
3.
memory.
Yeah, thank you. And
The test has been passed.
it just reminds me of the body of Christ, particularly our body here at Millington, right? The church is made up of so many gifted and talented people, and how we come together, right? And we have this vision, and then there's a strategy built around that vision, and then all of the workers coming together to pursue that together, hopefully within God's will for our ministry and the work that He's called us to do. So I just really love how you brought it all together, and it culminated in a message that was really woven together quite nicely with our own vision here. So I just really appreciated that, and I could clearly see how God's working amongst his people here, particularly in Millington, in a similar way that he worked through the book of Nehemiah.
Well, chapter 3 that you brought up, I preached through that part. I found that to be, initially at first glance, it's like, this is kind of boring. But then when you actually really delve into it, everybody building the wall simultaneously, everybody having different gifts, learning about all the different gates. It was pretty cool. And I thought you did a good job of drawing that out within the message, even highlighting the fact that all these different trades coming together. And at Millington, we have people of all different stripes, teachers, business, finance, engineers, creatives. And so we're all working at whatever, not literally a wall, but at whatever the mission is that God is giving us. We all have different gifts that we're living out here.
Good word.
Speaking of that, we have an opportunity to share your gifts at our upcoming Winter Village event. So if you are interested in serving here, you may have a different profession during the week, but just doing something like being a greeter or working our photo booth or doing some caroling. I know that we're looking for a couple more actors in our Shadow Box Theater presentation. If you want to help with the fire pits, we would love to hear from you. There's a way for you to sign up on that webpage. Use your gifts and talents here. Helping us build the wall. So we would like to see that. So
speaking
coming
of,
up,
they were building the frame. I saw the drape was in the sanctuary yesterday.
They started building the drape.
I heard some staple guns
built the
pounding
drape
away yesterday.
The drape was being stapled.
Yeah. So stay tuned. We're not going to share everything about what that is, but it's going to be really awesome.
It's
in place of a movie,
be creative.
It's going to be live drama this year.
That's right.
So we're taking it up a
live
notch
action at the Shears Winter Village,
and it's one of the key features of the Winter Village, and they're all equally wonderful at the Winter Village. There's a lot of good features, but some are more equal than others.
Like the photo booth. We did get the snow machine working, so the photo booth will be back in commission.
What?
I have a video of Scott dancing after it was done. Somebody sent that to me.
I can put that in.
No, please do not.
We do need to see that.
Yes.
Scott was
That'll be
very
shown.
happy.
3, 2, 1.
You got it.
Check that out. Look how excited he is.
Big news. The snow machine is working, and Scott's happy.
I have to give a lot of credit to my colleague Lenore, who stood by my side and offered tremendous support and help. In fact, I think she was
Speaking
more
of gifts and talents.
pivotal in putting it together than I was.
She was a mechanical
I just got to
engineer
celebrate.
there. Yeah. Awesome.
All right, good.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. It was great tie-in.
Yeah.
I saw what you did there. It was good.
So a couple things just about the vision of NBC in the end of the year giving campaign. So we put together a web page. If we could share that now, we have a few different things to highlight.
Got that page, Tim?
It's been a great last year. You're going to notice that there's some things to celebrate that we were able to accomplish this past year. One of the things that we did was
mobile, right? We can scroll.
Yeah, install a new speaker system. Because of your generosity. So just remember and remind yourself about all God has done in this past year. There's been some significant accomplishments to the glory of God.
Amen.
If you haven't checked this page out, get your mouse and start scrolling. I mean, man, Mark did a good job with this.
So, I mean, we're enjoying a new speaker system. Awana's been a big hit. We've had some campus upgrades. Hey, one of the things we wanted to highlight is our missions program. What you guys actually did in your campaign through the. Can you explain what did we do for our key bucket for the world partners for the missionaries last year? Can you give us a summary?
Explain to me what we did last year. Yeah, so last year, we had several things. So last year, and we do this every year. So last year we for the missions bucket we highlighted several projects. The local one related to a group called Young Lives, which is a group that focuses on young teenage moms, and we helped to put together what they call life packs, which was basically a kit to help young moms through that season of life. The one that we're doing this year that we talked about yesterday is Street Hope Alive. That's going to be providing scholarships for kids to go to a Christian school. And then Josiah Venture is a ministry overseas, and we're going to help with their sports camps to reach out to kids. Last year for the overseas or the global project, we supported our world partners, the Vosters, who work in Cambodia and specifically with college-age students, and we supported the hiring of a dorm leader. Her name was Sinat, and so she was hired so that we have a national person who's going in to reach people that are like her. And so they sent us a video that we weren't able to use in the message yesterday, but we thought it'd be appropriate to share with you today about what your giving was able to accomplish last year. So, Tim, we got another video you want to throw in here and check that out.
Hi friends at Millington Baptist, this is Alicia Vosters, and on behalf of the Dorm Ministry, we wanted to thank you for your prayer and financial support to the students, specifically the gift this year that has allowed us to bring CNAT on as a full-time staff member. Her role is to help us encourage the students, work with them one-on-one, and help them grow in their relationship with the Lord. And we hope that her testimony is an encouragement to you and the work that the Lord is doing here in Cambodia. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sinat. I'm 24 years old. Today I will tell you about my story. I would like to say thank God for choosing me and let me know about Him and for support me. Yes, everything. Study sociology of research and God graduation. Thank God for 4 years for supporting me, and in the 4 years I had a lot of problems, but God never left me. God always ran with me and rest me up, and God stay with me. Also I have feeling everything that's okay because I have God. Now I have a job. I work in the dorm. I hope I can have students motivate and I can have students some problem they need at the dorm. Yes, I would like to say to Bong Tom and Bong Alisa for job opportunity. Yes, this job is not my specialty, but I'm happy and feeling good when I do and I come the dorm. Yes, and because I study sociology of research, so I want to be a project writer and analyze in NGO staff. The good job for me. God will bless, and so now I don't know what to do, but I just try my best with my job and pray to God and rest in God, because God is everything and God will make it to me. Yes, thank you and God bless you. Yes, bye-bye.
All right.
That's pretty exciting. That
It is.
NBC,
Yes.
Some of the things missionaries struggle with are operational and staffing. NBC was able to staff part of their program. So thank you guys for your generosity.
Yeah, great. And
for-
this year, there's going to be more stories. So,
yeah.
let's talk about the highlights from yesterday's message and things that we're super excited about. We were excited about all of it, but we had a lot of stuff we talked about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Scott didn't know what to do with himself. He was coming up to me afterwards saying, I don't know what to do. Like, there's so much.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to choose. I'm excited about the counseling center partnership.
But you've been telling me some things are more equal than others.
Yeah.
So.
I don't want to diminish anybody's project here, but we're super pumped about what's going on in Awana. We're super pumped about some campus upgrades. We cannot wait to see what the Lord does with pickleball this next coming year. Bob,
Dude,
you were kind of like really, really coming at me yesterday on the stage
guys
there,
are all
bro.
Dude, you tried to hit it over the top of my head, man. I had
That's
to.
because what you did in the first service was not right.
I was reacting. I was reacting to what you were doing.
I was looking for an impressive volley, and you guys got like 3 or 4 in there, and that was about it. And then
We need help.
Yeah, the
Let's
ball
talk
went
about
wayward.
pickleball.
Yeah.
Tim, if you got slides, there we go. Pick slide 43. So this was cool. And Scott, you can chime in here. All you did was get out there and you painted some courts. We had
did.
people from the church, but then one week I showed up and there was this guy who came up to me and said, "Hey, you remember me?" And I was like, maybe. He was one of my neighbors around on Crest. Whatever he was wearing, I didn't recognize him. But one of our neighbors just popped over, and
Yes.
people were inviting friends. It was pretty cool. So we're
Absolutely.
talking about maybe we'll paint another court. Maybe we'll get some nets. Maybe we'll do, I don't know,
No, I think they're talking about multiple courts.
multiple courts. Yeah. There was some talk about a dome.
Oh, oh boy!
Stadium
I
lights.
haven't heard about this.
We want to
Sort of
put the
finance
lights on
standards
so that we can go after
That's
dark.
lights. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, we need some better lights.
That's exciting. You might
right.
have to put that into our.
I'm making this up
Did we
as
get
I
that
go.
on the,
I have no approval for
we
this
talked to
or
the crack-
funding for this.
we
I'm
talked
just
to the-
talking.
Talk to the crack team about that. Let's get the crack team involved.
They don't know anything about I hope they're not watching.
Yeah, me neither.
We have some pickleball plans now. We're all kidding here, but it's going to be a
Yeah, it
cool
was pretty
initiative
cool.
for the
Yeah.
next year. So, yeah, what are you excited about, Pastor Bob?
Oh my goodness, so much, Pastor Dave, so much.
Can we talk about contend?
Let's talk about. Let's go slide. There we go. Contend 2025. So we highlighted the one that we did last January, which was a huge success. Well over 200 people came, 70 volunteers. It was wonderful. So for this one, and you imagine getting things ready. And by the way, can I just tell you, Mark made that slide for me. What a beautiful slide.
Who's that guy on the top left?
Oh my goodness, he got a prominent place there. Pastor Chad
Bring
was
him
helping
back,
with worship.
Pastor
You know what?
Chad.
I texted him about this conference, and he's been ignoring me. So I have to get back on him to see if he wants to come back for the worship.
Well, speaking of this graphic, go back to the graphic. So on the bottom right, we got Dr. Bach from Dallas Seminary.
There he is.
And then look at Bob in that panel picture. He's absolutely vexed by what Dr. Bach is talking about. Bob is like,
what are you
my
talking-
brain
He looks like-
can't handle all of the Dallas Seminary truth
Dr.
coming out of this
Bach
guy.
looks like he just offered this super profound and life-changing statement, and
Well, I
Bob's
gotta
mind is
say-
being blown. And he's just looking at him like, yeah, that's right.
I was
That's
I was trying to keep up with the Texas accent.
I think Mark does these things on purpose.
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
there you go. Anyway, so the big news for Contend 2025, and this was the. Let me find the number for you, Tim. Oh my goodness, 55. Elisa Childers is going to be our main speaker. Those of you who don't know who she is, she's pretty popular.
Boom.
Getting these speakers, you have to do it like well in advance. So we made a list of people, and she responded positively, and so we're pretty excited about
So
that.
backstory: former musician with Christian
Zoe Girl.
contemporary music group Zoe Girl. Went through a journey of sort of progressive liberal Christianity,
Yes.
decided that was not preserving the orthodox truth of God, came out of that movement, learned how to preserve the faith and defend the
Yes.
faith, wrote a famous book called
What I guess if the first book was called Another Gospel.
Another Gospel.
She's got another one called Live Your Truth, and a new one that's coming out in January about
Now it's just been
deconstruction.
book after book after book.
So she's kind of got this double-barreled thing where we're talking about defending the faith outside, but also inside the church, and some ideas that are coming in culturally into the church.
Yeah.
So I think we'll have a little bit of a double-barreled focus for the conference itself.
We were super excited about
Neil
having her.
Shenby's coming too, and a guy named Jason Thacker. So those are the other two main speakers. Along with, we're hoping to get some local folks, maybe some of our venture people. So it's gonna be a good weekend. It's gonna be January 31st to February 2nd, 2025. Right. We're looking not this January, next January. So we're planning well in advance.
So if the Lord tarries, mark your calendar, and if we're not all raptured by then we'll have a conference.
All right. How about slide 50? Talks a little bit about the digital ministry. So you're watching one of the things here behind the pulpit. YouTube channel's blowing up. We've gone up by like 300 or 400% in terms of subscribers. So we're keeping to chip away at that. Tim,
Wait,
behind
can we
the
just
scenes-
say that a little bit slower? And like 300 or 400%, that's a pretty significant increase.
Yeah, in terms of percentage. So we started.
If my house value went up 300 or 400%, I would be pretty excited.
Well,
about
just
that.
to point out, so Pastor Dave left on sabbatical back in May. You were gone for
Why do you have to
4
tie
months?
this to me not being here? That's not right. That's cold, man.
Well, hold on.
First,
hold on.
you smashed me in pickleball.
We had 60 subscribers on our YouTube channel.
Then Dave got out of the way.
I was going to say that. Just saying, as of today, we have about 450. So that's a huge jump. Now it's still small potatoes from the YouTube world, but we're going in the right direction. So that's pretty exciting that people are liking what we're doing. Tim has a lot to do with that. Tim's doing some great editing back there. So all the editing inserts in this. And
can we just give a shout out to Tim? Because
by the way,
I feel like he was not properly acknowledged yesterday. Like a lot of the Vision Sunday was about Tim.
Yes.
Tim made a lot of those videos. Tim helped us really make that whole wall at the beginning of the series, and then he helped us create the brick vibe yesterday.
Make the bricks that you didn't hammer in
on the
wall.
fly. Then you're giving me a hard time about my not hammering.
I wanted to make sure that bricks were going up. I was letting you know.
I need help.
Bricks.
This is like borderline staff abuse here, guys. This is just he just thinks I can just take it.
Yes.
My name's Dave. The Logjam Henschel has stopped all traffic flow. Anyway, so Tim has broken that jam, and just hey, thanks Tim for that good work, man. That was
the
awesome.
videos were
I
wonderful.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
I think you did a great job of capturing all that we were doing in a very short amount of time, as well as the Luke walk up and all of that. So
I think you did a great job staying up all night every night last week to get all
I also want to give a shout out to my my buddy Noah.
Yes.
A lot of people came up to me and complimented me on the Nehemiah recap video. I said, no, that was not me.
we got a tag team going on, right? So you got Noah's doing some stuff. You're doing some. Noah does a lot of the shorts too. So a lot of the shorts themselves Noah was doing, but then you compiled them in a very compelling way.
Thank you
for that area. So
I just want to say to our listeners, who wants to be that 500th subscriber?
Right.
That's
Who wants
right.
to be responsible for that 500th subscriber?
What are we giving to
We have
number
a special
500?
prize for you, number 500.
I don't know how we know
Some
who
subscribe-
the 500th is.
Can I
We
just?
we love all of our subscribers, but some subscribers are more
Some
equal.
are more equal than
I think
others.
if someone sends us proof, like a screen capture video of them clicking
There you
on
go.
subscribe and they're number 500, maybe they should get like a T-shirt. Or
Maybe they
something.
should be a guest. All right. Hey, Scott's got something to say here.
Well, I'm so glad to hear that we're acknowledging this new digital missions field. It's one of the things that I actually had noted in yesterday's sermon. I think, Pastor Bob,
Slide 53, Tim. Let's talk
you may
about
have
that for a
mentioned
second.
it under Made to Multiply, right? That was kind of part of
did.
that vision.
I
there.
did right there.
And,
this one you talking about?
Yes, the new digital mission field, and this is something that as
That is a nice graphic.
somebody who didn't necessarily
explain
grow
in a
up
second.
with technology, right? I mean, I was of the day of cassette tapes and CDs and that kind of thing.
8 tracks.
Yeah. This isn't really
Vinyl.
my gifting, my area of gifting. So I am so thankful for those folks, Tim and Noah. We've mentioned some of them. Our team that really has a gifting in this area and is allowing our message, the gospel message, to be heard not just within our walls here, but outside in in that forum. So really
Hear, hear.
impressed by this. So
Well, and the graphic that we put up, I mean, so it highlights the fact that, you look at that green
Can we
circle
go
up
back
there,
to the graphic for a second?
that green circle, talking about people that are looking online to find a full sermon. That circle is a little smaller in terms of people that are searching for things, and then you have unbelievers that are actually looking to go watch a full 45-minute sermon. That's a very small chunk, but unbelievers that are looking to find a 60 to 90-second video, that's much larger, and the overlap there is your digital mission field.
yeah, the short.
And that's just a natural, like a lot of people are doing that anyway. Comedian, everybody's putting out these shorter videos to kind of do the tie-in to get you into something, bigger and longer. So let's just call it the digital front door to hopefully get people into conversations about faith. And so,
It's that's an appetizer.
for sure.
in fact, Dave did one the other week that got thousands of views. But interesting.
Bob's
like,
saying something nice.
the
Hold
one-
on for a second. I think my colleague would like to be kind. Just want to appreciate that fruit of the spirit.
Make sure we
happening
capture that, Tim.
that could be the short today. There you go.
Thank you, Bob.
All right. What else? What else can we say before we move on?
Before we move on from the digital media, just a little project of mine. A lot of people don't know this, but these podcasts that you're watching on YouTube are also available on Spotify and other places, pretty much everywhere except Apple. podcast. We're still working on that. So if you're ever not,
Apple's not letting you upload them.
we're working on it, man. It's
Apple's always got to be difficult.
but anywhere, if you're not in front of a screen, you're driving, you have a long trip, you want to go back and listen to some of these amazing podcasts we've done. Both Fresh Wave and Behind the Pulpit are available on Spotify, I believe Amazon Podcasts, Google Podcasts, a lot of places. So a little fun project that we've been working on here. So don't be afraid to listen up on Spotify.
That's great, Tim.
Hey, lots of other things we could highlight. I don't know if we can go through everything here, Pastor Dave.
Well, check
but,
it out on the page
you know.
yourself. At some
Yeah.
point during the month of December, we would encourage you to comb through that page, read it. There's a video you can watch, and then prayerfully consider a donation to Millington Baptist Church. We would be so glad to partner with you in all God's doing here
Yeah.
at NBC.
Can I just mention before we move on my favorite verse from yesterday? Slide 48. Nehemiah
All the
4,
verses
4 to
are
6.
good, but
right.
some of the verses
But
are
when
more
it talks
equal than
about the
others.
opposition, it talks about them building the wall. It said, and all the wall was joined together to have its heights, for the people had what? They had a mind to work, that they were working together. They were building the wall. The project, it was a mission thing that they were doing together. And so I think that's the call. Can we partner together to accomplish what God has for us right now?
Yeah. Go back to that graphic for a second there, Tim. So the thing of it is none of those people in that graphic actually exist. So we need real people who are not AI generated to help us to do
Does
the
that
work.
wall actually exist too? Or
No. The Western Wall looks pretty close to that. I was impressed with how the architecture there did reflect what probably
you
was
go.
happening in 500 BC. So, hey, we need real people, real workers on our wall to get the mission moved forward. So we hope that you'll partner with us. Very good. All right. So
right.
now we're going to actually move on to our next segment where we take a look at what's going on in the news. All right. Well, there's a few stories out there, but one of the ones that I wanted to highlight was pretty exciting because the news out of Israel, Palestine, and the war there happening specifically in Gaza with all the atrocities of Hamas and the weekend being a ceasefire and all the prisoners being swapped for those who are being held hostage
Yes.
was very difficult. But in the middle of all of that, there was this spiritual story about how there was residents in the Gaza area, Palestinians, who were having these dreams about Jesus and dreams about the truthfulness of Christianity. So these are Muslims living in Palestine, living in the Gaza area, who are now getting revelation from God in a supernatural sense. And so Dr. Mike Lacona had broke this story a couple days ago. I saw that, and I wanted to look into the veracity of this. And it looks like this is a real event that's occurring. Not just one person having a dream, but about 200 of these Palestinians who are coming to the truth about who Jesus is in the context of Christians doing compassion care and social work care in the Gaza Strip area. So God is using the love and the mercy and the outpouring of generosity of the Christian community to impact those who are innocent civilians in the Gaza area, Palestinians who are suffering really at the hands of a war that's not theirs, that's being fought by leaders that they probably are too scared to even admit that they don't support. But God is on the move, spiritually speaking, drawing people, even in the midst of this chaos, to himself through dreams. What do you guys think about that? Can God work in this way? Does that strike you guys as hard to digest, or how does that story strike you?
Yeah, I mean, the article you sent me, the headline is this: Muslims in Gaza come to Christ after seeing Jesus in dreams, report says. It was a miracle. Which we were talking about this before we started recording. I've heard a lot of stories of this similar type of thing, specifically in closed Muslim countries where missionaries are not able to go in, where how else are people going to hear the gospel apart from God working miraculously? So, it's hard to verify, is this totally true? But, I mean, I absolutely think God can do whatever he wants, and it's praise him for working in this way and drawing people to Christ. Maybe a famous story that it's related to this is the story of Nabil Qureshi. If you have not read his book, Seeking Allah, Finding Jesus,
right.
I read that for my Colson Fellows program last year, and it's a really well written book, but just such a compelling story. And coming to Christ as part of a dream, was part of his story. You know, the seeing this and recognizing the falsehood of Islam and the truth of Christianity was there was a dream involved there.
This seems to be one way God works. Any thoughts on this, Scott? I know it's a little bit of a bizarre topic, but
I was not aware of this until you brought it to my attention this morning. I absolutely believe that God can work.
Did you have
in
dreams
this
last
way.
night? You can tell us about your
I did
dreams.
have dreams. I wish they were this miraculous, but
if God is trying to tell me something in my dreams, I need an interpreter. I don't understand.
That does
No
not
doubt.
mean God does not speak in dreams.
that's true.
Exactly.
Yeah, but no,
True.
it was encouraging to hear. It sounds like it's coming from a credible source. I personally don't immerse myself in much news, unfortunately. A lot of it is just hard to digest, but this is very encouraging to hear. So I appreciate you bringing it to our attention. I'm prayerful that it is true, and I'm in prayer that those folks that did in fact experience this miracle of God will just continue to pursue Him.
Yeah.
Well, the reality is everybody needs Jesus, and so we should praise God for this and also pray for more people coming to Christ, which ultimately will be the end result, I think, would be more peace in the world.
Yeah.
And more
Amen.
hope. Yeah.
Very good. Anything else we wanted to highlight for our In the News segment, Pastor Bob?
I think that was a good news story, Pastor Dave.
Good. All right. So we've reached the part of our show, the ultimate part of the Behind the Pulpit podcast, where we do a little theology sprinting, and it's like 9 a.m, but we will try to sprint as fast as we can.
All right, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a handicap today. I'm actually going to put the question up on the screen. So
How is that a handicap? It's still
well, you get to read it instead of just hear it.
All right.
So not really help.
okay.
Make it a little easier for you, a crutch,
It's like a
if you
head
will.
start. Like,
a
usually
little
we
bit of head
start
start.
here. You're going to start us 10 feet ahead.
Like a golf handicap.
Yeah.
Give you a stroke.
Like it.
So
That tells me it's gonna be a hard
last week
one.
we recorded at 8 a.m. and we had a question submitted after we recorded at 9:45. And then this week, you obviously have a lot to talk about the Vision Sunday. But we have someone who submitted last week 2 questions. I think one of them could be a good theology sprint. So we will put that up for you right now. And that question is, 2 weeks ago, and now it's probably like 3 weeks, Pastor Bob spoke on prayer all day long. I am talking to God in my head, not out loud words, but thoughts and praise and requests, etc. Does this count as prayer, or must I have separate specific time with him?
Oh, great question.
Pastor Bob, I think this is directed to you, but I don't know if you want to take it. It's up to you.
Yeah, maybe you can help me on some of the references. So I think there's there's different types of prayer that we do. So there is a reflective prayer that's meditative, in terms of reflecting on the scriptures, meditating on them and what God is teaching us. I do think, though, there is a call for us to be speaking out loud, especially when it comes to intercessory prayer for people in Jesus' name, for those that are struggling. And so, does it not count as prayer? No, I think it's a prayer. It's just a different type of prayer, and there are different times where we should be praying out loud, using our voice, crying out to God for people that are in need in an intercessory way. So, would you add to that?
Yeah, I guess it seems like maybe behind the question is this sense that my time of prayer seems burdensome, and is what I'm doing already, does that count enough? And I guess my challenge for the question asker is maybe try to relate to your time of communication with God as more of a blessing, that you get to converse with him, and this is a great privilege to be able to have a conversation with the almighty God of the universe. And I would just echo what Pastor Bob has already said. There's all kinds of different prayers in the Bible, all kinds of different postures, standing, kneeling, sitting, all kinds of different places. People are in the garden, people are in the cave, people are in the belly of a fish praying. Like, there's no specific format or form that we find that's like, this is how you should pray in the Bible. There's all kinds of prayers. And then there's a sense in which some of the New Testament verses, like in 1 Thessalonians, it says, pray without ceasing, that prayer should be a way of life.
Yes.
And so there's a sense in which what your question is saying is living out that verse. But I think what Pastor Bob is saying is well said, that there should be a dedicated time where you're going to spend time with the Lord, just like you might dedicate some time to spend time with anybody that you love. You know, my daughter's home for the weekend for Thanksgiving. So we had some time Saturday afternoon to go to Moe's together and get some tacos, and she got a bowl, I guess. And we talked about each one of her classes in college and what's going on socially and what's going on in her. And that was more of a dedicated space and time to, hey, I just really want to catch up with my daughter, Michaela. And we allocated that time. We drove there. We spent some money. I think there's some value in carving out, hey, this is my prayer time with God, and being more specific. And then throughout the day, peppering that with more sporadic thoughts and prayers and arrow prayers throughout the day.
Yeah, I liked your view of the arrow prayer. And you talked a little bit about this yesterday in the message. One of the other things that I'll say too, as it relates to the Nehemiah 9 the sermon that she's referencing, I think sometimes we run to the petition without taking the time just to be with God. I know that I struggle with that. Just coming before God, being silent, being in His presence, listening, and waiting for Him to speak to us, I think is part of prayer. But also I think behind the question is, does it count if I don't speak out loud? And like I said, I do think there is times for us to speak out loud, to cry out to God, to use our voices, and specifically in an intercessory way for others.
Yeah.
In the name of Jesus.
Well said. Yeah. All right. Very good. How's that, Tim?
Great.
Good.
I think Noah can use some of that. So.
Yeah.
I think so. That shout out to whoever asked the question, and we'll try to get to your other one next week.
Yeah. Hopefully your prayer life is encouraged, and we want to see more prayer in 2024. So, hey, this is our Behind the Pulpit podcast for today. Thank you guys for being here, and we look forward to continuing on. And we hope to see you this Sunday for our kickoff of our Advent series through the Gospel of Luke to save the world. Till then, we'll see you next time on Behind the Pulpit.